I'ma get that money, so you know I'm doing it. Wait, I ain't really finna trip, you know I'm coolin' on it. Jet 5 Glock with a button on it, and I'm shooting it. Yeah, I ain't want her now. I'm tryna give her my love, oh, she ain't thinking about tearing it down. Hopping in speed racing, golly, we made it. I was on Lackland with a strap, I'm doubling back in on the map. I get that back in, that's the cash. Wanna travel the world, put them on a shirt like Earl. Pipe it down, she saying I'm thorough. I get how they think my girls, thinking my girl, she getting verbal. Wasn't a jest, walking around without no curfew. Yeah, you coulda had that bitch, but you fumbled her. Too drunk, I be stumbling. I don't wanna think about my uncle, no. I don't wanna think about the money, no. Say it again, it's getting it, no. She even know you ain't with it, no. Hopping that bitch and I'm whipping it, go. Baby, can you go slow? She finna eat me up, whoa. We gon' get on topic, bro. I don't need you topic, oh. I just been on topic, oh. He say that he got it, no. I ain't rockin' no Robin, no. She get to saying I got it, go. Yeah. We all know how that go, you know how they go, yeah. You know what I'm on, everybody know what I'm on, we know what you on it. I'ma get that money, so you know I'm doing it. Wait, I ain't really finna trip, you know I'm coolin' on it. Jet 5 Glock with a button on it, and I'm shooting it. Yeah, I ain't want her now. I'm tryna give her my love, oh, she ain't thinking about tearing it down. Hopping in speed racing, golly, we made it. I was on Lackland with a strap, I'm doubling back in on the map. I get that back in, that's the cash. Still thinking about the shit you did. Voices in my head won't let me live. I don't want you in the right way. What can I say? I done did a couple things that I don't like to claim. I'm in a wide body scat pack. I tell everybody bad bad. I'm on 40s and I'm mad black. I'm on 40 and I clap back. Ever since you wanna vibe, I ain't like with a word. Hit me into the truck. These niggas know I swear. Money out, she wanna switch and fucking me up. Ignorance bliss is the mini me mine. Cup I kicked that I don't like mine. Perks I kicked them that gave me the rhyme. I smoke it dope, I put that in my lungs. We smoking Reggie, keep that out your lungs. I'm in the Beverly Hills with the bud. Yeah, I be spitting this shit for fun. Fun, 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 fun. My body scat pack. I tell everybody bad bad. I'm on 40s and I'm mad black. I'm on 40 and I clap back. She wanna go to the Taki Island. She wanna know about where I've been. Baby, I'm making money. I got my diamonds so calm, my nose running. Tell them niggas they don't know nothing. She wanna go to the Taki Island. She wanna go to the Taki Island. I be with Colony, cut away, 808 in the violin. Pull up on him, Mr. DOA, he won't try us again. I be with Colony, cut away, 808 in the violin. Rags came in the violin. She was a nat, but she came in. Hey, niggas broke shit. Took us over and then I broke in. Getting money right. Took us all right. Getting money right. Took us all right. Getting money right. That's all I had. She wanna go to Taki Island. She wanna know about where I've been. Baby, I been getting money. I got my diamonds to calm my nose running. Tell them niggas they don't know nothing. She wanna go to Taki Island. She wanna go to Taki Island. I be with Colony, cut away, 808, and the violin. Pull up on him, Mr. DOA. He won't try us again. I be with
Hello and welcome to the Broken Sword. Today we are looking at the original Dark Lord, Malkor.
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Malkor, also known as Morgoth, was one of the almighty divine spirits. These divine spirits were among the first creations in Tolkien's own world, all created by Eru Ilúvatar. This means these divine spirits, also known as the Ainur, were created before even time itself had started. Of these, we know the names of the 15 most powerful spirits, later known.
Wait. Are you telling me, bro, that I was talking the whole time and y'all could not hear me, bro? That's an L on my part, bro. That is a whole L on my part, bro. What's good? Lou Jenkins in the building. What's good? What's good, bro? Bruh, I just added myself to the stage, yo. Like I was talking that whole time. The whole time screenshot. Man, salute to everybody coming in the building, bro. Here we have a Lord of the Rings character analysis breakdown. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all are familiar with Lord of the Rings, the movies and everything. That they had a few games that come out. You know what I'm saying? Tolkien, the author that wrote the books. You feel me? And then it went on to get turned into a whole franchise. But yeah, salute to CX in the building, bro. Salute to everybody coming in the building, bro. Like I can't believe I was talking and y'all could not hear me, bro. Yo, that is crazy, bro. That's wild. I was about to ask, yeah, bro. I was talking. I'm like, what the hell going on, bro? That's actually crazy, yo. Damn. Okay, that looks a lot better. I'm over here trying to switch my little layout shit. And then I noticed, I'm like, I didn't even add myself to the stage. I've been talking the whole time, bro. Hey, that's what happens when you be smoking weed, though. That's what happens. Salute to the 5 in the chat, bro. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to the Broken Sword. Today we are looking at the original Dark Lord, Melkor.
And just to say this right here, Lord of the Rings draws a lot of comparisons to the Bible for some odd reason. Like, I don't know if that was the main inspiration, but this whole like thing is low-key like a Bible story. You feel what I'm saying? Well, let's continue. Y'all will see as we go along, you feel me? As he breaks it down, how it can kind of correlate.
Worthy of Mordor.
Melkor, also known as Morgoth, was one of the almighty divine spirits. These divine spirits were among the first creations in Tolkien's own world, all created by Eru Ilúvatar. This means these divine spirits, also known as the Ainur, were created before even time itself had started. Of these, we know the name.
And what that sounds like angels, bro. Angelic beings. Those are the only recorded beings to be here before the beginning of time and before everything. Let's continue.
Names of the 15 most powerful spirits, later known as the Valar. These were the ones behind the shaping and ruling of the created world, and there were 7 lords, 7 queens, and 1 other. The 7 lords were Manwë, king of the Valar; Ulmo, king of the sea; Aule, the smith; Orome, the great rider; Mandos, judge of the dead; Lorien, master of dreams and desires; and Tolkas, champion of Valinor. And then we have the 7 queens of Varda, queen of the Valar; Yavanna, the queen of earth; Niena, the lady of mercy; Este, the gentle; Vere, the weaver; Varna, the ever young; and Nessa, the dancer. These 14 followed the ways of Eru and were great followers of him. However, like in most stories, there was one other, the one that we are here to focus on today, Melkor. So you are probably wondering here, why is a Melkor even on this list? Why is he not amongst his fellow spirits? What?
Y'all see how he didn't get counted amongst them, right? You see how, you know what I'm saying, when you want to be the black sheep so bad. Feel what I'm saying?
makes him different?
With so many choices on Booking.com, there are so many
would
Tina
get an
Feys
ad
I
right
could
here.
be. So I hired body doubles.
Well, let's jump into it. And to understand this a little better, we first need to understand Eru's thoughts when creating. As when Eru created these Valar, he did so while giving each of his creations just a glimpse into his thoughts and ideas. And therefore, each of the Valar end up as basically specialists in different areas, aspects, and thoughts of Eru. However, when
So these spirits took on different personifications of God. If you think about it, it's the same way in biblical terms. A lot of the angels, especially the seven archangels, they take on some type of righteous aspect of the Lord and everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially Michael, the first archangel, the most powerful one. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, it's crazy.
one of these is not like the others. One was not created equal, and that is Melkor.
You about to get me hip to some new shit? Yeah, bro. It's hella interesting, bro. It's hella interesting.
Melkor was created with a greater level of power and knowledge than those around him, meaning, at this point, there is only one being, one entity who is more powerful than him, and that is, of course, Eru itself. So, although in theory the other Valar may be slightly more powerful in one certain degree, for example, Tolkas had the ability to be able to just about physically overpower him, as a whole, none can come close to matching him. This extra knowledge led Melkor on a slightly different path straight away, for Melkor had knowledge of this thing in Tolkien's world called the Flame Imperishable. And what does this flame do, you may ask? Well, this is the term that the power that Eru had was known by, which was the power to create. And I mean truly create, not just alter.
And what does that sound like, chat? Who does that sound like? He craved the power of creation, the fire of life. You know what I'm saying? The spark. You know what I'm saying? The very thing that makes people people. You know what I'm saying? That makes your individuality. He craved that from his creator. He wanted to be his equal. Who does that sound like, chat? The devil. You're correct.
Or corrupt. This is what gave things life and gave them souls. And a little thing here. This is what Gandalf refers to in his speech on the bridge of Khazad-dûm when fighting the Balrog, when he says, "I am the servant of the secret fire," with that secret fire being another name for the flame imperishable, meaning he is a servant of Eru, a servant of good, to fight the servant of Melkor. But anyway, that is not really too relevant right now. So, during the beginning of time, Melkor had
And people that have seen Lord of the Rings, y'all know about Gandalf and he the wizard and everything, right? But a lot of y'all don't know that he's actually not a human. He's an angelic being sent to Earth by God to help Frodo, you know what I'm saying, in that party defeat Sauron, you know what I'm saying, to guide them. You feel what I'm saying? He's not tied to like nothing. You feel what I'm saying? He'll get to all of that, but I just wanted to let y'all know that because at first I didn't know this. I didn't know Gandalf was just this OP part. Like he truly cannot die. Like, yes, you can kill his physical form, of course, but you know what I'm saying? The spirit is eternal. You know what I'm saying? He represents the flame imperishable.
gone in search of this flame, as the thing that he truly desired was to rule and create himself. He wanted to be in charge. He wanted everything bent to his will, not someone else's. He basically just wants to be God. However, when he realized that this power was more a part of Eru as opposed to being an item, he knew that this was really a battle that he could not win. So all his time searching in the void had really been for nothing. Now, at this point, I could not exactly say that time would pass, but after Melkor failed with his plan for gaining the power to create, Eru would bring the Ainur together for an event called the Ainulindale. This would be when the music of the Ainur would come to be.
What you said, CX? Hold up. The creators of this genre were occultists and studied mythology and ancient archaic mysticism. Oh, word. I did not know that, but I figured CX that this would have to come from somewhere. Like you can't just like sure you can imagine it, you can illustrate it, but you have to have some type of knowing already, some type of pretense to look back at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Somebody had to sit down and really think about this, bro, on a deep level.
Eru would teach each of them music and song, and together they would sing for Eru, creating the vision of Iluvatar, which would be the vision of the world we would come to know. However, during their harmony of a song that would not be heard again, one spirit broke this harmony. He sung his own song. And you get no prizes for guessing who that was. Malkor. His song was so strong that some of the Ainu became confused as to what song that they should be singing, even beginning to sing his song over Eru's. So, a second song is sung by Eru. But again, Malkor...
To remind y'all, Eru in this verse is God. Eru equals God. So, yeah.
Goes against this new one too, and again this swings some of the Ainu to his song, not Eru's. So once again, for a third time, Eru sings a greater song, even trying to bring Malkor's song into his own now. But Malkor will still not back down. However, in the end, Eru sings his final powerful note to end the music. Eru addresses Malkor. He tells him that he created everything. Everything Malkor is came from him. So whatever he thought to do, Eru already knew. He could not overpower him. Malkor was furious with this, but hid it from all the others. This is then where the vision of Iluvatar I previously mentioned gets shown to the Ainu by Eru, and the Ainu wish for...
So God was singing the music of creation, you know what I'm saying? He's basically forming all of these astral particles and all of these stars, and you know what I'm saying? He's shifting this matter and molding it and forming something. And a being of his creation, technically his son, his eldest son, is trying to interfere and do his own thing. Like, how you gonna do your own thing, bro? I made this right here. You feel what I'm saying? Translation.
This to be real once they have seen it. And so, Eru created Ea. And this term, Ea, is what everything that exists refers to, or in another way, the universe. Which means you have Ea and the void, being the created universe and the timeless planes outside of it. So, with Ea now a thing, that meant that Arda was now in it, which is the name for the world as a whole. When the Ainu saw this, they wished to mold and help form it into a wonderful place for the children of Iluvatar, except one again. And surprise, surprise, that one is Malkor yet again. He saw this world as not an opportunity to help and support the creation of Eru, but instead a world for him to control, a world for him to rule, a world of slaves to serve him as their ruler and god. Nonetheless, Malkor was still allowed to enter into Ea along with the other Ainu, with those who entered first being the most powerful and becoming those I listed before, known as the Valar, with then lesser spirits going too, which would become known as the Maiar, but they come slightly later. And you may wonder at this point, is Malkor still on his own though? Well, he has actually already turned many of the Maiar over to his ways. Some will openly support him in his thoughts, and others support him in secret under the face of serving a different Valar. So no, he was not alone. He was already building up a team behind him, meaning there was already a battle going on between the Valar, or Malkor against all of the others. After all, Malkor would not exactly hide his ideas now, even saying directly to Manwë's face, with Manwë being his brother, that he would rule this world as the most powerful amongst them all. At this time,
this lore is like really deep. So Manwë is Melkor's kind of like his twin brother, because they are like the oldest. But Manwë is completely opposite of Melkor, bro. Like he's light, he's righteousness, he's purity, all of that type of stuff. Everything good that you could possibly think of, while Melkor is the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue.
Manwë would not fully understand the idea of evil and corruption, but knew that he and the others must prevent Melkor from ruining Aya as a beautiful and peaceful place.
So it's like Lucifer and Michael. So yeah.
And this is where the wars of the Valar really begin. The Valar were trying to shape this clean slate of a planet and form it into something beautiful. However, everything they tried was countered to the opposite by Melkor, for what really appears to come from just pettiness and a want to do things his way. Melkor just simply wishes for nothing to be in the vision of the other Valar, and this went on for a time until the last of the Valar came to Aya, taking on his physical form, with this one being Tolkas, the most war-ready and champion of the Valar. And here, by the way, this whole idea of the Valar, their powers, and what taking these physical...
Look at this mess, y'all. Just look at this for a second, y'all. All right, they are literally, these beings are so powerful that they take on whole personifications of elements and forms of matter. You know what I'm saying? Just taking a quick glance at this, do you see this mess? And he just said they came to Earth in a human form. You know what I'm saying? All that power condensed into a human-sized being, bro. They're literally like gods. So shit crazy, bro.
Forms mean to them is a subject of its own, really, for a video. So if you would be interested in seeing that video get made, then please leave me a comment below of the Valar, just to show me that there is some interest in seeing this. But now, back to the wars of the Valar. With Tolkas now entering this plane of existence, Melkor becomes more wary. For although Melkor is a more knowledgeable and powerful Valar in most respects, Tolkas is so physically powerful that Melkor is slightly taken aback. Therefore, at this time, Melkor is driven away and a period of peace is brought to the planet, which means the rest of the Valar are now able to finish their wish of establishing the world of Arda. The world they ended up forming was a symmetrical one, where at its center was the land that the Valar themselves chose to live, and this land was called Almaren. And upon this land, the Valar created two great lamps to finally bring light to the world, with these being called Iluin and Ormal. However, this light would not quite reach all corners of the planet, so some darkness remained, and within this darkness, Melkor still dwelt, plotting his next.
That's crazy, Lou. You know what I'm saying? I reckon, like, look, it's like a different kind of, like, same race put under, like, different, you know, I don't know how to explain that. Like, different categories or something. Or, like, maybe those elemental ones represented, like, a primordial existence. But yeah.
Next move, molding those he could to his ways and waiting for his moment to strike. He would not have to wait too long, for when the Valar came together for a feast of celebration at the completion of their task, Tolkas both married Nessa and then proceeded to drink far too much, becoming too merry and fall asleep. So, with Melkor's greatest threat now incapacitated, he knew the time to act was now. Melkor came out of the darkness, over the walls of night, and moved into the north, where he would come to build his almighty fortress of Utumo. And for those of you who don't know, the walls of night were the outer walls of the world that surrounded Arda in the Elder Days. But anyway, as Tolkas slept for so long, Melkor was able to complete the building of Utumo, and due to this, evil gradually started to flow from its walls. Disease, death, and foul weather gives a hint to the other Valar that Melkor had.
See, he just wanted to come into his father's newly created world, y'all, to just corrupt it, yo. And he's brought on disease, evil. He's creating monsters, creatures, demons, all types of myths that serve under him. All things of the night serve under Melkor, Morgoth, aka.
Had indeed returned. Which one thing you also have to remember at this point is that the planet does not spin here. There are no seasons to speak of in Arda at this time. So for cold weather to appear is something purely of Malcol's corruption. The Valar knew that they need to find him and stop him before his evil could spread too far. However, before they could do anything, Malkor strikes first. The Valar are taken by surprise by this, and Malkor comes out on top. He destroys the two lamps, bringing complete darkness back to the world and claiming victory over the other Valar. It is said during his attack that it was so great that not only were the lamps destroyed, but also the land of Almaren along with them. And again, along with that, the entire symmetry of the planet got broken too. You may be wondering though, surely couldn't all the Valar together have overcome and attacked Malkor and won? Well, it's not quite as simple as that. Malkor had used such a great amount of his power to destroy everything that the Valar needed to use their powers to prevent the entire world from collapse, which left them really unable to have any remaining fight left in them to fight back against him. So, unable to pursue Malkor, but having stopped the end of their world and let it fall into ruin, the Valar now needed to find somewhere new to reside. And so this is where they chose a man across the sea, building Valinor upon its land. Now living in their new home of Valinor, the Valar need to establish a new form of light for the world. However, they do not build two lamps as they did before. Instead, this...
Y'all, the Silmarils, bro, the novel, the Silmarils, that's a very good novel. It's about these two trees right here. These two trees are causing light to be spread across like everything. And they also are very powerful, and they nurture anybody that is under their rays. Like, we're gonna get to that because we're gonna, like, the birth of the elves is gonna come in and everything. And you know, the first elves, they spent a long time under these trees and everything. They lived amongst these trees, and these trees nourished them. So this is the first age, y'all. So you know, during the beginning of everything, that's typically gonna be the most powerful of, like, that's gonna be the most powerful generation, basically. But let's continue.
This time they go for a different structure. This time they build two trees instead, one of gold and one of silver, and they are named Talperion and Lorelin. This angers Malkor, as it now meant he must defeat them all over again. However, Malkor was still not ready to launch an attack on the Valar once more, and with Tolkas this time awake, he was wary that they would rise up against him with their combined might. So instead, in these next years, Malkor would build another fortress, with this one called Angband, and this was located beneath Thangorodrim in the Iron Mountains in the north of Middle-earth. Here, Malkor would place a certain commander and his greatest servant that many of you may recognize, and he was called Sauron. So Malkor had now managed to build up an almighty...
Everybody is familiar with Sauron, right? Everybody is familiar with Sauron. These are two evil motherfuckers right here, bro. These are like the devils of this universe. Morgoth being the first one, and Sauron following in his stead. But he's much weaker, to be honest.
Mighty army that consisted of evil creatures, including the likes of Balrogs, along with near unbreachable strongholds. This would
say this new to you screenshot, yeah, bro, yeah. Man, I was wondering, like, somebody here that seen Lord of the Rings. Y'all heard of Sauron before? The owner of the One Ring, the ring to corrupt them all. I gotta get hip. It sounds fire. Yeah, it's fire, bro. It's fire. I plan on bringing more of this content to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Would not stop the Valar,
What did
and
I
they would
do?
launch an attack
What did I just do?
on Malkor, and this would fail, and the Valar would get pushed back to Valinor. Malkor would not sit idle in his victory, though, and he would continue to delve deeper into the earth and build more to his great fortresses. He would also come to learn of the awakening of the elves at this time too. Malkor made it his mission to find them, which he did before any of the other Valar managed to themselves. He killed and captured so many of them, with this being the event that it is believed that caused the creation of the first orcs, which came as a result of the unimaginable twisting, torture.
So the elves are basically in this verse, y'all. Like God didn't create us in His image, because if He did, then we wouldn't know like error and all of that. We would pretty much be perfect, immortal beings. Elves in this verse are literally, if God was like, you know what, I'm gonna make the first creatures on this planet be elves. They'll never die of old age. They're very wise, powerful, all type, bruh. Basically, everything perfect. That's what the elves represent, bro. And what Sauron did was he seen what his father was creating, and he corrupted it, bro, because of jealousy. And that's how you get the orcs and all. Yo, if you seen Lord of the Rings, you know them monsters and everything like that. Yeah, the orcs were elves at first that got turned into abominations. It's actually really sad, bro. It's really messed up, because it's like, damn, bro. Whole generations wiped out and turned into monsters. Minds warped to want to do evil. I read all the Harry Potter books when I was younger. Oh, dang, nigga. Hey, those some thick books too, bro. Those some thick books, bro. So when I was in school, I was barely able to get halfway through, bro. Halfway. But those some good books though. You feel me? That'll get your vocabulary up real fast and everything, man. Just one of them books. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then breeding forced upon them. It would not take too long before the Valar found the elves themselves, though, as they feared that Malkor would capture, warp, and corrupt all of them. And so they came back at Malkor with furious anger. And this led...
Screenshot, you say you stayed on punishment. Yeah, bro, that's what I did most of my reading, bro, on punishment, bro. When I was in trouble, couldn't go nowhere. Ain't had no phone. Last resort right there. Orcs are dwarf, elf, and human mixed breeds. Yeah, because he experimented with, it looked like all the races, bro. But what he started out with first, Melkor went after them first made elves. It was just, he was treating it like he was some type of science experiment, just taking everything that was pure and tainting it.
Led to an event called the Battle of the Powers, also known as the War of the Gods. The Valar knew that this was the time to stop Malkor and his corruption over Middle-earth before it became too late to stop them. And so, with their combined power and determination, they marched straight to Malkor and his forces. The Valar would leash the power that would destroy Utumno and lead to the capture of Malkor himself.
They got his ass.
He was taken unchained by Angainor and sentenced
Look,
to...
he don't look so strong right here. Look, he's literally on like, okay, I guess this would be the steps to like the throne of heaven right here. And these are guards. And then, I guess within the what is it, like a Bible quote or something like that? When gazing upon the throne of heaven or something, you are basically powerless. I don't know if that was said specifically, but he has no power here, bro. You see how he looks pretty normal. Any other time you see him shrouded in darkness. Yeah.
Imprisoned in the halls of Mandos indefinitely. However, the Valar did make a mistake here, for they did not push on to round up and wipe out all of the evil that Malkor had corrupted. Instead, they needed to recover. This meant that many of the evil creatures just went into hiding until their leader returned, and this even included Sauron. And so, for 3 ages, Malkor remained in chains, and this was said to be around 2,900 years of equivalent time.
Damn.
After these many, many years, Malkor came to beg to Manwë for pardon.
He was basically locked up for 3,000 years, y'all. 3K. I can't even imagine. Yo, what do you think about Chat, just imagine that. Like, even being able to live for that long. You locked up for 3,000 years, bro. An innumerable amount of hours, bro. You just locked the hell up. Nothing but you and your thoughts. I doubt you probably need to eat food like regular people. You just locked the hell up and can live forever. I don't know, man. That sounds like suffering to me, bro.
Although the thoughts of revenge were ever present in him, he pushed it aside to beg from his brother. Somehow Malkor was
So he's begging for forgiveness from Manwë, his twin brother. All right, let's go.
trusted here, at least to a certain degree, as Manwë granted Malkor what he asked. This was not a decision agreed with by all, though, for the likes of Tolkas and Ulmo were very skeptical of.
Hey, no lie screenshot. No lie. Yeah, he definitely was plotting, bro.
This call. This meant that, despite the chains being removed, the Valar would not permit Malkor to leave their sight. However, this does not stop Malkor from making contact with the elves that lived here, as he already had a plan up his sleeve. This did not mean that the owls were all willing to listen to the words that came out of his mouth, though. The group of the owls, known as the Vanyar, did not even humor him, as they did not possess an ounce of trust in this spirit. The Teleri were at the other end of the spectrum, in that Malkor did not wish to waste his time with them, believing them to be too weak for his grand plans. However, the Noldor were just like that third bowl of porridge, just right. They had a greater wish for knowledge and skills, which meant their wishes were closer to that of Malkor's. And so, Malkor approached the one amongst them closest to himself, Feanor. Another powerful reason.
I've been looking at lore about him, bro. We're gonna get it. We're gonna talk about the elves too, bro, because it's a lot of them, bro, and they got a lot of cool ass stories tied to them, bro. So Feanor is one of the first age elves, bro. The pure-blooded Janks, if that makes sense. Pure-blooded sound crazy though, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, bro, that's Feanor, bro. This dude had like 7 sons. 7 of them. Man had a lot of kids, bro. And then his kids had kids. And it just kept trickling down.
Reason for Malkor to approach Feanor is that at this time he was also creating the Silmarils, and Malkor desired these more greatly than anything else. Malkor would begin to weave his poisonous words into Feanor's mind, spreading rumors of the coming of men, raising doubts about the true wishes of the Valar, trying to...
You see that, bro? All right, so the second creation of God in this universe was humans. He is trying to convince the elves to be jealous of humans, even though these people are literally created in God's image. They are immortal, everlasting, geniuses, bro. Literally, bro. They literally are good at everything in every area. You know what I'm saying? Magically, all of that, in mysticism. These are literally the perfect people. But Melkor is trying to convince them, their leaders, that humans coming into being are a threat to the elven existence. Let's continue.
Turn them to his side. However, Malkor could not keep his meddling quiet enough, as Feanor began to realize that his lust was there for the Silmarils, and he rejected Malkor. And so his words ended up reaching the ears of Tolkas, who decides at once that Malkor needs to be returned to his chains. He cannot be trusted. He cannot be left to roam free. Malkor had seen this coming, and he fled.
Tolkas actually be on point. He actually knowing. He said, I don't trust that nigga, bro. I will never trust that nigga. Just look at him. Did he look trustworthy? Like, this nigga shrouded in darkness all the time. Come on.
Fled south before he could be confronted. Melkor traveled to a land known as Avathar, southeast of Valinor, where he came across a dark creature who had once been allied to him, the spider-like spirit known as Ungoliant. Even though
Yo, she got lore too, bro. I just love this universe, man. I really do. Ungoliant is literally one of those. All right, if you've seen the Bible and everything, the Bible speaks of creatures that you can't even fathom, and she would be one of those. She is a creature of chaotic darkness. She just came into being, and she chose to be a spider. That doesn't mean that's what she's restricted to. She's not restricted to just being a spider. Let that be known. You feel what I'm saying? But she's a being of great power. Not only does she hate the light, she craves it. So this being can eat light. She can eat a sun, chats. So you know this is a eldritch creature right here. But this is the mother of all spiders, bro. So spiders in this verse have an even greater, I don't even know if I would say greater purpose, or they have a greater history, I would say. That they come from an eldritch being that was literally unstoppable. You see, Morgoth, he literally wanted to team up with her. Let's get into that.
Ungoliant had previously rejected Malkor as his leader after he had been defeated. Malkor managed to convince Ungoliant to serve him once again with the offer of riches in return. Malkor wishes for both the Silmarils and to destroy what the Valar love, and so he uses Ungoliant for her ability to weave a cloak of shadow to hide them from the sight of the Valar. By this method, they manage to reach the two trees, and Malkor pierces them, draining them of their essence, with Ungoliant then drinking this sap to power herself.
You see this?
Once again,
they go into these trees, bro. These trees of great light. They literally are acting as a power source / light for this realm right here, right? And these two team up to take it down, and she can drink. That's the whole thing about her. She can drink upon divine essence and gain more powerful. Gain more power. I said more powerful. Gain more power, yeah. But look at her though. She's a creature of death and destruction.
Leaves the world in darkness. In the confusion and the chaos that this creates, the two then travel north to Formenos, where Malkor steals the great jewels that are kept there, including the Silmarils. But not just this, Malkor also slays the first king of the Noldor, Finwë, as well. As the darkness still reigns over everything, Malkor and Ungoliant flee into Middle-earth by way of the icy passage known by the name of Halkorax, and by this route reach Malkor's stronghold of Angband. This is where a betrayal occurs, for Ungoliant wished to devour every single jewel to destroy all that they had taken. And although Malkor initially allows her to do this, he will not allow her to take the Silmarils as well. Malkor would struggle to defend himself though.
Yo, I already don't like spiders, bro. Now you put a spider on the hierarchy of a celestial being, bro. You just heard him mention that she can weave darkness. She wielded a cloak for him. Imagine what she could do to you with that. The sheer size of this thing, bro, and the fact that it can just fuse itself with darkness. Like, imagine a dark corner or something like that. She could just submerge herself in it and become that shadow. Like, that ain't cool, bro. I already have issues with spiders, bro. I rock with stories with layers like this. Hey, man, that's what's up. Screenshot. Hey, man, more on the way, man. More on the way. I fuck with shit like this, bro. It really make you think. You know what I'm saying? It really opens up your imagination. I'm glad y'all rocking with it.
Ungoliant was no Valar. All the evil acts that he had committed had taken great strength and energy from him, which had left him in a much weakened state. Whereas Ungoliant, she had been revitalized and swelled with power after drinking the sap of the trees, so she had become too much for even the greatest of the Valar in his current state. Ungoliant managed to...
She's not even counted as like an angelic being, bro. She is literally like a biblical creature, or just a creature that came when everything just was birthed. A primordial creature, the first ever spider. And she's not like an Eru creation. Well, technically she would be, but she's like something that just came into being. You know what I'm saying? And she's taking on aspects like hunger and greed and stuff like that. And you know how strong and everything personifications like that can be. But let's continue.
To trap Malkor in her webs and began to torture him up until the very close point of devouring him as well. However, Malkor screamed such terrible screams that it awoke the Balrogs that slept deep beneath Angband. These Balrogs...
Yo, she literally had this man Melkor, aka Morgoth, screaming for his life. This guy, the first, like, one of the first sons of God in this verse. She got this man screaming for his life. Like, he can't do nothing about it, bro. Like, that's really wild to me, bro. And it makes me question the cosmology, because how exactly, like, how deep does this lore go, bro? How is she capable of this? Let's continue.
Led by Gothmog, the Lord of Balrogs, came to Malkor's rescue just in time and managed to drive Ungoliant away with their whips of fire. With Malkor now free of her webs, and Ungoliant having ran far away, Malkor returned.
Look at that face. Would you trust somebody that looked like that, chat? Does this look like a trustworthy guy to you? Does he look like he'll tell the truth? Nigga, I wouldn't. And you read these stories and you listen and you be like, so this man, he sold all of this deceit and nobody ever was alarmed by him at all, by his appearance. Nothing. So y'all just thought this dude was just peaches and cream. Like, he ain't have no other motives. Nothing up his sleeve. All right.
Into Angband, and he would go on to create a great iron crown for himself that would house the 3 Silmarils that he had so greatly desired. Also, as an important point here, if we take a quick step backwards, when Malkor had stolen the great jewels in Forminos and killed Finwë, Feanor had cursed Malkor, naming him now Morgoth, which is the name that he was only called by from that point onwards.
Feanor, one of the first generation elves. Like, these names, chat, and within Lord of the Rings, they show that words have power in here, just like in the Bible, words have power. And words can dispel demons, and words can brand beings. He gave him this accursed name, bro, Morgoth, representing the evil that he represents. You know what I'm saying? Melkor was his, you know what I'm saying, God-given name. Now you in the mortal realm, and now you wearing a whole new title.
By any of the Eldar, as they believed his Valar name of Malkor was no longer worthy of him, so their created name of Morgoth was more suited. And so, that is now how I shall refer to him for the remainder of his story. Morgoth has now settled back in Middle-earth, to the north of Beleriand, in his rebuilt fortress of Angband. And he comes to learn that the lands in the rest of Beleriand have come to be settled by the elves during his time in chains. This irks Malkor. He cannot accept that the elves are free. He believes that they should be under his control, that they should be his slaves. So of course...
Do you hear this hating ass shit? Chat, do you hear this right? The audacity, bro. The narcissism.
He cannot just let them live here without interference. This is where the Wars of Beleriand would come to be. And I will say here, I do have a more complete video on the battles of the Wars of Beleriand if you would like to check that out in greater detail, but I will run over Morgoth's involvement in this war in broader strokes here. So, Morgoth's first plan in what becomes the first battle of the war is to send out his armies of orcs and cut off the elves of Eleuthingol and the Sindar in Doriath from Círdan and the Teleri in the Falas, which he succeeds in doing. However, out from the opposite side, Thingol manages to send a request of help to Denethor and the Nandor in Osiriand, who comes to his aid with an army of his green elves. These reinforcements make it too much for the orcs of Morgoth, so they retreat, but They are then utterly defeated in their retreat by the dwarves that appear from the Blue Mountains after they tried to return to Angband. Despite that loss for Morgoth, he was finding more joy from his orc that was still attacking Círdan though, keeping him trapped.
This is a World of Warcraft hardcore randomizer. All your abilities and talents are random, and you only get one life. Let's see how far we get.
Next, we get to the second battle of Dagor Nuin Gilead, or Battle Under Stars, and the return of Feanor in Morgoth's life. Feanor had brought a force of elves from a man, who were a far greater foe than those elves who had stayed in Middle-earth, and they marched all the way to Thangorodrim, with the orcs unable to match these elves. When Feanor pushed on to the gates of Angband, he was separated from the main force by Morgoth's orcs. This is where Morgoth knew the time was right to send out his Balrogs led by Gothmog. Although Feanor put up a fight, and I mean a good fight too.
And Balrogs are literally draconic, demonic, golem-like creatures that have power over flame. Fiery flame.
He suffered too many wounds and was struck down by Gothmog. So although the war was not really going his way at this point, the achievement of killing Feanor was a softening factor to that. Then we have the Dagor Aglareb, or Glorious Battle. This third battle of the war involved the coming of Fingolfin to the war, like the second battle had with Feanor. He had also come over the icy passage Halcarax with a certain
I think Fingolfin that's another elf. I think that's Feanor's brother. I think. Let's see.
Adriel alongside him, as opposed to taking the ships like Feanor did. But the full reason for that being important is also one for another video, but let's just say it involves a kinslayer. So, now more Noldor have arrived, and Fingolfin has teamed up with Mithras, where they march in a great victory all the way up to the gates of Angband, trapping Melkor inside. This is where the siege of Angband begins by the elves. Despite their strength, the defense of Morgoth was far stronger. Morgoth was then stuck here for a great time, but he does not sit idly by and mope. No, he uses the extreme size of his underground realm to rebuild and improve. They are at a stalemate, but that is until Morgoth regains his strength and finally, in time, sets forth his dragons. Which is what now leads on to battle number 4, the Dagor Bragolak, or Battle of Sudden Flame. Morgoth sent forth the population of Angband, led by Glaurung the Dragon and Gothmog, Lord of Balrogs. He also sent forth great rivers of fire onto the fields for his forces of dragons, Balrogs, orcs, and other evil creatures to take the fight to the elves. This well and truly broke the siege of Angband. The strength and timing of this attack meant that the elves stood no chance. Morgoth not only broke the siege, but also now too controlled a great amount of the north of Beleriand with it. However, something happens next.
Did y'all see how big that damn dragon was? I'm not fighting that shit, bro. And personally, if I was in some of these armies, yo, when they had to go against these giant behemoth creatures, hey, look, I wasn't blessed with the genetics to handle this right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let y'all do it. Nah, bro. Call the all-star team. I ain't ready. Know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take a back seat. You feel me? Yeah, they got hella different beings in this verse, bro. For real, bro. I'm even down to vampires and werewolves too. All of that, bro. Well, that nigga Sauron was a vampire for the first age. Well, he took the visage of one. And he controlled werewolves. Why that shit keep doing that?
That Morgoth does not predict. The elf Fingolfin, the High King of the Noldor, rides to the gates of Angband alone to challenge the great Valar Morgoth in single combat.
Oh, shit.
Even if there was amount of fear of death within Morgoth, he would also never truly believe a small child of Iluvatar could ever best him, a Valar. So he
don't think a child of God could defeat him, a Valar, basically an angel. So he's like, no child of God can defeat me. You know, I was here before you. I predate your existence, but that doesn't mean anything when you represent the total opposite of what God intended for you. You went again. He gave you free will, and you chose to do everything in your power to be evil.
Meets Fingolfin. And this duel was one of legend. And on a personal note here, one that I would love to see a live action or animated version of at some point.
Yeah, bro. I need to see these fights animated, bro. Because they say these elves, like they are, I'm talking about, bro. They moving like blurs on the battlefield. They are like so many times stronger than a human. Especially the first elves. Like over time, you know what I'm saying, the bloodline has dwindled down, but you feel me? Like I said with the Silmarils, and you know how the trees and the light and everything that was nourishing them, like magnifying their power in every way.
So give me a like on this video if you agree with that. But anyway, Fingolfin managed to deal 7 separate wounds to Morgoth as he was powered by anger at what Morgoth had done to his kin. However, Morgoth was still too much for him. After all, he is one of the Valar. Morgoth managed to knock him to the ground on 3 separate occasions, but Fingolfin would rise from each of these knockdowns. Nonetheless, eventually it would become too much for him, and Morgoth would bring him down by the use of Grond, his hammer weapon, and shield. With Morgoth about to crush Fingolfin under his foot, Fingolfin got one final stab into Morgoth's foot, which is said to have left him with a limp for the rest of his time. Just before Morgoth could deliver the final life-ending blow, snapping Fingolfin's neck, he is saved by the intervention of Thorondor, the greatest of the Eagles of Manwë, who struck Morgoth's face and carried the body of Fingolfin.
Damn, this picture cold as hell, bro. Y'all see this artwork cold. So, his brother Manwë, one of his angels, one of his birds, divine birds, rescued Fingolfin before he was killed by Melkor, or Morgoth.
Fingolfin away.
At Signable, Slack is where we all communicate. That is where we do everything. Whenever there's an issue, we go to the Product Incidents channel, start a web.
There would be 16 years before the 5th battle in the war, but this was not 16 years of nothing. One of the legendary stories of Middle-earth took place during these years, and that was the quest of Beren and Luthien. You had Beren of Beor's house in Doriath, and Luthien Tinuviel, who was the daughter of Eleuthingol and Melian the Maya. They would wish for this Silmaril, as that was the only way Thingol would believe Beren was worthy of his daughter's hand in marriage. So, together they disguise themselves and enter into Angband. However, the disguise is not great enough to hide them from Morgoth, who is aware of their presence, but allows them to appear before him.
Angband, the place is overrun with creatures of complete darkness, and you thought you was finna hide and disguise yourself? What? Beings that can literally sniff out light and goodness?
Curious as to what their plan may be, as Morgoth planned just what to do with Luthien as she stood before him. He let her dance for him, and she managed to send him to sleep through the power of her song, very much something Morgoth did not predict. Beren then cut one of the Silmarils from Morgoth's crown as he lay there unconscious. However, the knife would break and stir Morgoth, as the two then realized they must escape quick, which they managed to do, and this left Morgoth with just the remaining 2 Silmarils. Now, a few more years on, Morgoth would reach the 5th battle of the Wars of Beleriand, the Neneuth Anodiat, or the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. There are now men within Beleriand as well, and they choose now to try and team up to once and for all push Morgoth's evil out of their lands. However, Morgoth is no fool and is aware of their up-and-coming plan. And
so literally, y'all, some of the first wars fought in this verse was because of this hating ass immortal dude right here. This dude that was giving everything due to birthright is literally trying to screw everybody over, take over everything, corrupt everyone. Like humanity's, bruh. Imagine your introduction being brought into a world and you gotta face this nigga, this great evil right here, that's been there for thousands of years, bruh. Making everything
He
hard.
too has brought men to his side, the ones known as Easterlings, which is basically just any of the men who lived to the east of the Blue Mountains during this time. Which means, for Morgoth's side, this gives them a great surprise attack from the side. Morgoth comes out the great winner of this battle of chaos and death, and any survivors on the side of good must flee to their remaining safe places, like that of the hidden city of Gondolin. And one man to mention from this battle, though, is that of Húrin, of who the stories of the children of Húrin are written after, for he is captured and taken alive back to Morgoth, who places him high upon Thangorodrim and curses him to watch his family, including, of course, his son Turin, who are also cursed, and Húrin is unable to do anything to help them and can only be forced to watch. There is also an elf to mention here too, a traitor elf called Maeglin. Thanks to the betrayal of Maeglin, Morgoth was able to discover the location of Gondolin, and so he laid siege to it.
Man, it's always a traitor, bro. What do you have to gain from helping this dude, bro? He is doomed. His soul is damned. Why would you help him, bro? Go against your people.
With Morgoth's forces being able to bring down this one last defense of the elves. This was not a flawless victory, though, for Morgoth lost one of his mightiest servants of Gothmog, Lord of Balrogs, by the hand of Ecthelion during this battle. And along with this too, another small group led by Glorfindel managed to escape, which would be so important in time as it included a certain 7-year-old child named Eärendil, son of Idril, daughter of King Turgon of Gondolin, who had fallen with Gondolin, and Tuor of the House of Hador and brother of Húrin, as we previously mentioned a minute ago. But we will get back to why in a moment. Morgoth now feels confident, for despite losing Gothmog and one of the Silmarils, he now controls basically all of Beleriand, and still has the likes of Sauron at his side too. He is not exactly in a powerless state. However, that small child Eärendil, some years later, believed to be when he was around 20 to 30 years old, went on an unheard of quest. He built a ship with the help of Círdan the shipwright, and he would name it Vingelote. And he would take this ship and set sail for the land of Aman. Now, for those of you who wonder what is so unheard of about this, it is that no man had ever set foot on this land. This land was for the divine spirits and the first children of Ilúvatar. No one else.
Interesting.
However, with Eärendil being half-elf, this is likely what made it at least a little bit acceptable for him to take this path, as well as him also having his path guided by the light of the Silmaril that Beren had previously cut from Morgoth's crown, and along with this too, as he had taken this quest on behalf of both elves and men as a representative, and not just on a selfish quest just for himself like others would attempt to do in the future. So, Eärendil would appear in front of the Valar and begged them for their help. He says that without them Morgoth would win and everything would come under his control, willingly or as slaves. And so the Valar answer. They bring forth.
What's interesting to me is how they treat, like, if you are half human, half elf, you typically are, especially if you royalty, you're gonna get treated better. But like what I've seen on here, even I don't know if it's because of blessings from Ilúvatar or whatever, but some humans favor elves. They don't have like the pointy ears and everything, right? But they have the grace and everything that they have, and then other elves in this verse can recognize that too. I think the Turin character, I think that's who that was referring to, because something had happened to his human kingdom and everything. He was a prince. He got sent away to get raised by an elven king. This elven king adopted him because he was friends with his father, Boom Bam Bop. But his likeness was that of an elf, which is kind of crazy. I don't know. It's kind of wild, chat.
The host of the Valar, and that would include the likes of Valar, Vanya, and Noldor still in Valinor, and these would ride for Middle-earth. However, the Teleri would not join.
So it's like class systems. Yeah, it's basically class systems. You got the poor, middle class, upper class, and you got these straight up like most elves. It look like they are royalty. But somewhere they got a long, like you got to think because they're immortal. Your family line is so long, bro. Like so long, and then they have these houses and stuff. You know, House of Noldor, etc.
Join due to their feelings from the first Kingslaying that I very briefly mentioned upon earlier, as they still felt too strong feelings against the Noldor for their actions. It is believed that some of the Valar themselves may have come too, but there are never any clear indications whether that is true or not. But you think if you're going to challenge Morgoth, you're gonna need a few Valar on your side. This is where the final battle of the Wars of Beleriand takes place, the War of Wrath, or the Great Battle. The numbers that took part were too vast to count, and when the smoke settled at the end of it all, the hosts of the West came out on top. Eärendil had killed the Great Dragon and Calagon the Black with the help of the Great Eagles. Nearly all the Balrogs were destroyed, and those that did survive hid themselves away far.
So crazy. Unification of a human and an elf birthed half-breed species that ended up killing a giant dragon. This stuff got to get animated, bro. Where are the movies at, bro? It's too many chapters, too many, you know what I'm saying? It's too many arcs for them not to be trying to animate this stuff.
And deep. And the orcs stood no match themselves, so were basically all wiped out to the point that all Morgoth had left was Angband itself. However, with his power weakened too, and no defense left in front of him, this meant that the hosts made their way into the dungeons of Angband, where Morgoth had hid himself, and they captured him. Morgoth knew he did not possess the strength to win this fight alone, so he attempted to negotiate for peace, but this time he was not humoured in any way. They hew his feet from his body, they cut the Silmarils from his crown, and once again that chain of Ungainor was to hold him as prisoner.
Hey, what? Yo, they did him dirty.
I am Butch Sloxon. I'm a Los Angeles-based artist who creates Skullman.
This war had stood no match themselves, so were basically
they brutalized this guy. Hold on.
All wiped out to the point that all Morgoth had left was Angband itself. However, with his power weakened too, and no defense left in front of him, this meant that the hosts made their way into the dungeons of Angband, where Morgoth had hid himself, and they captured him. Morgoth knew he did not possess the strength to win this fight alone, so he attempted to negotiate for peace, but this time he was not humoured in any way. They hew his feet from his body, they cut the Silmarils from his crown, and once again that chain of Ungainor was to hold him as prisoner. This war had left Beleriand completely ruined and mostly sunk afterwards. The elves split themselves up either over Middle-earth to the east or back into Valinor. The men were given an island called Andor, later to be named Numenor, for their part in the fight against Morgoth. And the other men who fought with Morgoth ran as far east as they could. And then you also have the dwarves of the now ruined Nogod and Belagoth, who also had to find new homes too. But then as for Morgoth himself, while bound in his old chain, he was sent through the door of night, beyond the walls of the world, and into the timeless void. Here, in this...
They pretty much, Morgoth, his punishment, literally, he got put into a whole pocket dimension. The void, bro. Like, y'all know how I be talking about the void? He got put in the void, y'all. Where it's absolute nothingness. You just alone, suffering. Chained up. Can't free yourself.
everlasting and ancient darkness, Morgoth would be left to simply exist, but not be able to fully influence anything. And this is where the known story of Morgoth comes to its end. However, it is thought that this may not be the end of him entirely. He was not killed, so somehow, some way, there was a possibility that he could return. It is believed in prophecy that there would one day be one last battle, best known as the Dagor-Dagorath, or the Battle of All Battles, which had been prophesied by Mandos. It is said that this event would bring the true end to Morgoth at the end of it all. It is worth noting that Christopher Tolkien claimed that from his notes, J.R.R. Tolkien had abandoned the idea of the Dagor-Dagorath as a prophecy of Mandos, but it is still one many people know of. Regardless, it is said that Morgoth would be slain by Turin Turambar, the son of Húrin that Morgoth had cursed all that time before, but only after Morgoth had still managed to destroy nearly everything that existed, bringing the end to the world. That is when it is believed that a second Music of the Ainur would take place, this time without Malkor, and it would bring forth a new world free of evil and corruption. But really, who knows how that would really end up? Evil seems to always manage to rear its head one way or another, probably just through some other form. Or it becomes the idea of paradise, and in that new world, they just manage to live happily ever after. So there we have it, a look at the full story of the Dark Lord Malkor, later known as Morgoth. He is the one who is well considered as the big bad main enemy in all of Tolkien's works. After all, he is like the Lucifer of that world. He is a very interesting idea for a character too, as Eru claims that he knew Malkor's early thoughts. However, he did not intervene and stop him. Eru let Malkor go about his ways, corrupt all those things that he did, and did nothing about it. Very strange when you think that he was directly going against Eru's wishes. This could well hint, though, that even though Malkor always wanted to show his power, rule over everything, bend everything to his will, he could never in a million years come close to Eru at all. Perhaps it comes back to that idea that no matter what, evil will appear, so if Eru knows about it, that's a safer thing than it somehow appearing from elsewhere. You don't really know. But there is one thing I do find quite sad about the story of Malkor though, and that is that we just don't get more detail of it. There are several instances where many years pass on by with nothing of note happening. There could be so much more from Tolkien's mind that sadly he never managed to put onto paper. Or it could just be that, actually, as one of these divine spirits, time just means so little to him, so those long breaks of what appear as nothing happening is just perfectly normal to that kind of entity. It could be either way, but when you have an enemy like Malkor, you just want to hear more stories about it. But now that we have reached nearly the end of the video, I actually want to end all of this with a quote from the Children of Húrin's story, where Morgoth is talking to Húrin, as I feel this sums him up as a character quite nicely about how he felt towards the children of Ilúvatar and the world, with Húrin starting this quote. "Yet so it might be if they willed. For the elder king shall not be dethroned while Arda endures."
You say it,
said Morgoth.
I am the elder king. Malkor, first and mightiest of all the Valar, who was before the world and made it. The shadow of my purpose lies upon Arda, and all that is in it bends slowly and surely to my will. But upon all whom you love, my thoughts shall weigh as a cloud of doom, and it shall bring them down into darkness and despair. Wherever they go, evil shall arise. Whenever they speak, their words shall bring ill counsel. Whatsoever they do shall turn against them. They shall die without hope, cursing both life and death.
So on that very happy note, I hope you all enjoyed this video for today.
Wow, that was deep, man. We finna get up out of here, but man, that was very interesting, bro. That was very interesting. Especially that last quote right there. He was committed. He was committed. He was determined he was gonna be SVS. But chat, it's be your boy BTG. This has been a good one, bro. I appreciate everybody for hitting that like button. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the 3 people in here right now. I'll get back with y'all. In the meantime, I'm gone. Salute.